You are listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Trends in the Papers on 98.3 Mainland FM, the sound of Lagos. Today, the 1st of May 2024, it's also Workers' Day, and I understand that a lot of us are at home spending quality time with our family, friends and loved ones. It's Workers' Day. It's the day that's set aside to appreciate workers, the sacrifices they give. It's very important that we highlight the difference they make in the lives of many workers like me, workers like you. We just need to appreciate each other. It's very, very important. We are a part of, the success of the country, a part of the economy of the country, a part of the growth and development of the country. So to all workers out there, either it's the private sector or the public sector, happy Workers' Day, and you are highly, highly appreciated. My name is Omobola Sandra. You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll be looking through the major stories trending on the front pages of our papers very, very, very soon. And I will not be doing this alone. Somewhere along the line, Fuhad Sahid will be joining in via the phone line to give analysis, in-depth analysis to the stories that we're going to be looking through this morning. Today being Workers' Day, of course, it's also important for us to highlight, the many travails that a lot of people, especially the working class, are going through at this time in this country. The economic hardship is biting even harder, especially with the fuel scarcity. Yes, with the fuel scarcity that is now getting even worse. The situation is getting worse. There are places where you can't even get bus to go to work. There are places where even when you get bus to go to work, the transport fare has gone up by about 200 to 300%. So even the salary that a lot of people collected sometime last week is already blown out, and we're already in a new week. So it is really a time for us to discuss as workers, the way forward, or even as our leaders, hopefully, look at, the welfare of workers generally in the country. It's said that the federal government is looking at, or has already looked at, the salary structure of civil servants, but there's also a long way to go as regards the welfare of workers, health, welfare, health insurance and all of that. So many things to look at. But then, happy Workers' Day. Your contribution is important and it makes a difference in the lives of a lot of people. I have Fuad Sahid with me via the phone line. Good morning, Fuad. How are you doing? And happy Workers' Day and happy new month.
Good morning, Sandra. Happy Workers' Day, and I think it's a day to celebrate, the resilience to be rugged.
Yeah.
How do I put it now? The suffering, let's just put it the way it is.
The tenacity of Nigerian worker.
Tenacity and every other word that shows how, steadfast that Nigerian workers have been in the midst of excruciating poverty, rising inflation, fighting, economic hardship and all of that. The Nigerian workers have waded through the storm and have continued to stand strong. Also hanging on the hope that there's a better tomorrow. That's the story of the Nigerian workers, Sandra. Whether in the public sector or in the organized private sector, again, the Nigerian workers are faced with uncertain future. They are faced with excruciating poverty, multi-dimensional poverty, depreciating value of their currency, which makes whatever they take home, whether in the form of wages, salaries, and allowances, amount to nothing, really, practically. It's not a good day for Nigerian workers, but we must celebrate ourselves.
Thank you very much, Said Fuhad. And speaking of Workers' Day, let's go on now to the front page of the Punch newspaper, where the major headline there says, Workers' Day, Labour laments rising food prices and fuel crisis. And we have riders there that says reps, NLC, NBA students reject electricity tariff hike, lament rising inflation. Queues worsen gridlock, commuters stranded, more vessels discharge PMS. So the story is on pages 2 and 7 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see what the report has. As Nigerian workers commemorate the 2024 May Day today, organized labor has expressed concern about the rising food prices and fuel scarcity in the country, saying the current situation threatens workers' survival. So, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress leaders, in separate interviews yesterday, lamented the harsh economic situation which has been compounded by the twin burdens of the electricity tariff hike and the high fuel pump price. So, as unions are expressing concern about economic hardship, queues at filling stations as it has worsened as a result of petrol scarcity, workers, students alike also, who could not get to their destinations are stranded. And we also have, the unfortunate situation of high price of food items. Labor leaders are saying that workers are finding it difficult now to make ends meet. Everything is going up, except for salaries for a lot of people. And the prices of basic food commodities such as food, beans, maize, plantain, potatoes has surged by from 25% to about 40% as of March 2024. So aside from, with the advent of the statement, the infamous statement of the president on May 29 last year, where he said subsidy is gone, which gave birth to which spiraled rather into a lot of, unfortunate circumstances that a lot of Nigerians have had to go through in recent times. More recently now, Fuhad, is this twin burden of electricity tariff hike and then high fuel pump price. And I'm going to add another one to it, making it 3, is high cost of transportation now. And I really don't know because
what about food?
Okay, and
food
now,
stuff.
and food stuff. Okay, thank you. Let's put that. Let's add that onto it. Let's lump it together. High price of food inflation. All right. So that is aside from food inflation, there's also the unfortunate situation.
And also depreciating value of the naira, because your take-home pay cannot even take you home. It's worthless. Right?
So look at that, all of this on a 30,000 naira minimum wage worker, where in some places it's not even 30,000 naira for what? It's 18,000 naira. Yes. 18,000. Yes. So what exactly is the way forward, or the hope of a Nigerian worker? Thank you very much.
Or the renewed hope of the Nigerian worker.
It's not renewed.
How do you want to ask the question?
There was no hope at any point. But what is the way forward as regards to hope of the Nigerian worker?
Well, Sandra, I don't know. I don't know whether there's any hope anywhere. I think the only hope is the hope that comes from God. And that hope in itself is that, look, once you are alive, like they always say in this part of the world, when there's life, there's hope. Is that not the way we say it?
Yes, sir.
That goes, so while there's life, there's hope. I think that's the only hope for the Nigerian worker at this time. I must tell you.
That as long as they're
and that's the reality of as long as you are still alive, there's hope. That's just the only hope, really. Because again, let's bring everything together. There's a story in the papers. It was announced yesterday that the government has now increased the salary of some workers, not all workers now, if you check the story very well.
Yeah.
And it's between 20% to 35%, right? If we can do a very quick calculation, Sandra, very, very quick calculation, so that you understand that we're just wasting time here. And I've been waiting to see what the response of organized labor would be to this particular announcement of the government. The name of the member that
Fuad, I can barely hear you. Could you move a bit? It's a little bit distorted. No. It's the same. Maybe we should reconnect. All right. Okay. So we'll reconnect. All right. You are listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. This is Trends in the Papers. We're looking through the major stories trending on the front page of our dailies, and of course, today being Workers' Day, the major focus. The major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper is Workers' Day and the unfortunate hardship that they have to go through. Is it fortunate hardship? really don't know. But the unfortunate circumstances or scenarios that they have found themselves due to either government policy or the challenges that we're going through collectively as Nigerians, basically. Yes, what?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that, look, 20 to 35% announcement for police, the military, paramilitary, and some other institutions of government within the public service. Now, let's do a 30,000 minimum wage calculation. What is 20% increment, Sandra? 10% is about 3,000. Then if you do 20%, that's 6,000 naira. So we're talking about 36,000 naira, Sandra. For those that get 20% increment. For those that get 35%, we're looking at about maybe up to about 20,000. So you put it to about 50,000 naira minimum wage. But again, put that against what has happened in terms of inflation. What was the bag of rice when the government took over? What is the price of a bag of rice now? Gary, we don't go into the things that could be considered as luxury. Let's just go to the basic things, the basic staple food. I'm sure if you ask people out there, they will tell you that, look, in less than a year, the price of Gary has gone by over 100%. The same thing for beef and every other thing that the ordinary Nigerians ordinarily we should find as very affordable for them. That used to be very affordable for them. Let us also talk the price of petrol. When the government came in, what has been the percentage of increment since they took over this government? We're also talking about electricity tariff, Sandra, over 200% for the so-called band 8. And again, the idea is that it's going to be everybody that will be put on that same increment in tariff. The minister is still justifying the need for tariff to go. So by the time you aggregate everything, Sandra, and also take note of the fact that, look, there's a tripartite committee that has still not issued a full report on this so-called wage negotiation. Why is the government jumping the gun? If you understand what I'm saying.
With that
a tripartite committee.
Yeah,
with that increase. Although they have said that, in fact, there are some that they told that, look, you have already got your own increment. So, why don't even come again? People like lecturers, workers, medical work. But let's turn to realistic. Every other Nigerian at this time deserves a wage increment because of the reality of today. So you ask yourself, the tripartite committee that is sitting, have they come out with their recommendation?
Were they the ones that suggested this increase?
On what template is the government taking this one now? Or should we assume that, look, irrespective of what is happening now, there's still going to be another increment that will be based on the recommendation of the tripartite committee? Remember again, Sandra, I think sometime last year, you had several broadcasts of the president last year. I think there was one in June, another one in August, and all of that. I remember that the president made a promise to Nigerian workers that, look, you guys should calm down. I am coming with a living wage. In one of his broadcasts. And it's coming very, very soon. Can we now conclude that this 20%, 25% is the so-called living wage the president has promised Nigerian workers? Sandra, it's not because again, we just put all of these things together for us. So when I tell people take care of yourself, I actually know what I'm saying. And I repeat it again, Nigerians, take care of yourself. Because again, consistently, the president has said that, look, I took a very tough decision. Without those tough decisions, Nigeria would have gone bankrupt. Whereas he also agreed to the fact that the tough decision is the reason why a lot of Nigerians are now very poor, are facing different challenges, economic challenges and the rest. But don't worry, there's light at the end of the tunnel. But we ask ourselves, where is the light at the end of the tunnel now? Because when it concerns the things that concern the poor and vulnerable in our society, are we saying the palliative economy is what will really solve the problem of the poor? What effort is being made to get Nigerians back on track where they used to be? Where Nigerian families will on their own take care of themselves, take care of their children, pay school fees without waiting for government. What government palliative food and rights? So, you see, like I said, I think the only hope the Nigerian worker can hang on to at this time is the hope that is coming from God. And the hope of God is not discriminatory. God gives us fresh air, the sun comes on everybody, and then the hope of life So far you are living, there is hope. But for government, this is what we have to deal with. There's still fuel scarcity. Look at that. Where I am now, people are fighting, carrying keg and jumping up and down. In the midst of plenty, an oil-producing nation, Sandra.
All right.
That is the story of the Nigerian workers, the other Nigerian at this time.
Just in addendum to what you have said, the TUC chairman, Shola Adigun of Ekiti State, that is Ekiti State chapter, said, and I quote, "The survival of workers and Nigerians as a whole under the present economic hardship and reality is a miracle." How Nigerians are actually, getting through this. That Nigerians could survive.
It's more than a miracle.
And still
Nigerians are the most.
And still find ways
Nigerians are the most resilient people in the world. I've never seen those kind of people before. People are fighting now. You know what we call serious fight. Pushing themselves. And you look at it. How they have survived this period. How people are still surviving this period. It's a miracle. Maybe because you are a country that prays a lot.
Well,
and that's the story of Nigeria.
I also have here still Shola Adigun speaking, saying, "I want to say that the present economic situation, poverty level, removal of fuel subsidy, the galloping food inflation in the country are threats to the existence of an average Nigerian worker. They are threats to our existence and our comfort. Nigerians, yes, we have causes to celebrate and all of that, but then surviving this untoward situation in this country is also worth celebrating one way or the other, if we have to be realistic with ourselves." But then the chairman of TUC Akwa Ibom State Chapter, Dominic Abang, lamented the inflationary trend in the country, saying Nigerian workers were poorer due to the high inflation, which he said had eroded the value of the minimum wage. Let's also look at, the unfortunate climb or decline of the value of the naira. Now, the depreciation of the naira has increased the poverty rate among workers, because the money we earn as salary cannot even pay for our healthcare needs, transportation, fee, talk less of the electricity tariff that has just recently been increased. So on a general note, the workers are poorer now than they used to be because of high inflation. Now, for just very quickly, the president said sometime last week that, he had to make tough decisions and all of that. And I'm wondering, are these the tough decisions made by the president that we have to go through in order for us to get to that, proverbial light at the end of the tunnel?
No. If the tough decision cuts across, you understand? Okay. Maybe Nigerians will begin to understand. You understand? You can't say that you are taking tough decisions for a better tomorrow, and Nigerians who are wallowing in poverty will read that you are doing 6 billion to do CAPA for legislators. You don't understand what we are saying. Yes, you've taken a tough decision. Let us not agree that, look, there was no other option. Nigeria could have gone bankrupt if that tough decision was not taken. But as Nigerians are now suffering because of those tough decisions and hanging on the hope that you have given them that things will be better tomorrow, they now realize that you are buying SUVs of 160 million naira for all legislators. They now realize that you are allocating 6 billion naira to do CAPA. You are using 5 billion to renovate houses, 15 billion to build the VP residence. There's all manner of reckless misappropriations in the budget. And so how do you now justify the suffering that they are going through because of that fight? You are still doing the same thing that you used to do before you took that tough decision. Has anything changed in terms of all the reckless spending, procurement, misappropriation? Has anything changed, Sandra? So where is the tough decision that we are talking about here? And that what we said is that, look, the only people that have to wait for things to get better for them are the ordinary people. Remember, Sandra, even before the legislators, the 10th assembly was sworn in. Remember the money they gave to them. Remember what they call that money to allow them settle in on their job. Did they wait to take care of themselves?
70 billion.
Are they not sorting themselves? You remember now, Sandra, that the money was there so that they can quickly settle in to do the job. Did they wait to buy their own SUV? Why can't they say, because of the tough decision we have taken and the poverty in the land, we are not buying SUV, let's use the old cars. Are you telling me all the legislators that got those SUV don't have their own personal cars? Where is the sacrifice from the other side? The sacrifice is only on the side of the poor. That's what we are saying. You don't understand. We are not saying tough decisions are not good, but you can't take tough decisions, whereas on the other side, you people are living larger than life. But on the side of the poor. They are the ones that should bear all the sacrifice and pain. Why can't they wait this period though? There is something in the land. They could be sorted themselves out now, Sandra. But the thing for the poor, but the thing for the poor, that one we wait till eternity. Where is the student loan, Sandra? Up to today. Where is the student loan? Up to today, I think the wage award said they are doing about 2 months.
Yeah.
The wage award.
As of the last exactly. As of
giving a minimum wage now. The tripartite committee has still not submitted the report. Only for us to be talking about 20%, 35% increment. And I gave the calculations to you. And every other promises that have been given to the Nigerian people. Where are the promises? When is it going to happen? And then you talk about palliatives too. You know, what we call the palliative of rice and beans. Where is the rice? Where is the beans? And remember, I conclude on this one by saying, Sandra, when the president campaigned in the campaign period, the Nigerians what has Wale now? What has Wale? What has Wale? It's not the living standard of the people. That's the only thing about Wale.
Well, there's some people who are a little bit pessimistic about the situation of the country at this time, saying that Nigerian workers have a bleak future, noting that the leaders have failed to get the economy working. That's coming from Danjuma Tanko. And let's moving on from this particular story. Yes, it is rather unfortunate, especially looking at the fuel queues worsening yesterday. As regards the nationwide fuel scarcity, it has also assumed a worrisome dimension, leading to a major gridlock across major roads across the country. But very quickly now, we'll also look at, now let's move on from that story. You can get more details on pages 2 and 7 of the Punch newspaper. But still on fuel crisis or fuel issues, still on the front page of the Punch, I have here 200 billion naira debt. Ipman threatens closure of 30,000 filling stations. And that is on the front page of the Punch. The story is on page 31 of the Punch newspaper. If you in case you're just tuning in, this is Mainland 98.3 FM. We're looking through major stories on the front pages of our dailies. And it's 3 minutes past 8. I think we lost Fuad somewhere there, so let's see if we can reconnect with him as we look through this story. So 200 billion naira debt. Ipman threatens closure of 30,000 filling stations. That's what we have as regards this particular report. Apparently the federal the NMDPRA, which is an agency under the federal government, is owing marketers 200 billion naira, and the threatening closure, as it is Ipman, which is independent petroleum marketers. Ooh, okay. Yes, I get that. Thank you. All right. As it is now, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, which owns over 30,000 filling stations in the country, are now threatening to close down filling stations due to money that's been owed them. Apologies, I'm trying to reconnect here with Side Forward, so just please stay with us. All right, yes, so that's what we have here, which of course we already have a situation as regards the worsening situation of the fuel scarcity. So with this one now, what exactly can we expect going forward? Does that mean that there may not be a resolution to this particular problem that we have anytime soon, now that Ipman is threatening to shut down 30,000 filling stations due to operational costs can't afford to keep running, and we have monies being owed? So can we say that in the coming weeks things may actually get difficult for commuters, or what exactly do you make of this situation? For oil marketers are threatening to shut down 30,000 filling stations across the country if the federal government fails to pay the 200 billion naira that it owes members. Hello? I lost that again. All right, we'll reconnect. So this was disclosed in a communique in Abuja, and Ipman specifically said that the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, which is an agency, has refused to clear their debt, which has continued to accrue since September 2022. What?
Yeah, I'm with you. I can hear you.
All right. So, what can we say now? Does it mean that there's no, there's no way forward, or that these things could actually get worse with the expectations of Ipman shutting down filling stations across the country due to the debt being owed by NMDPRA?
I think we just have to appeal to Ipman, no? Because really, Ipman owns the highest number of filling stations in the country. They have more petrol stations and even more man. Those are the major so this issue of not paying debt and all of that, I think closing down their filling stations now would put more Nigerians into serious suffering, would even make the situation worse, because they own most of the filling stations, especially in the low income areas, in other parts of the country and what have you. So I think for this story, majorly just an appeal. If you are listening, you are a member of Ipman and you are also influential enough to take decision for Ipman, please, Nigerians are begging. Don't do that to us.
Well,
we can't go through that kind of suffering again. We understand that they are being told validly they need to get their money back. You understand? But I'm just saying, what else can we do? If they shut down the police station,
But just to try to put things in perspective, the chairman of Ipman Depot Chairman Forum, Yahya Al-Hassan, said, and I'm quoting now, "As Ipman, we have taken every step in the past to salvage this unfortunate and looming situation, which we know will not augur well with Nigerians, but we are presently left with no option than to go all out in the next few days to address this ugly trend in our way, which will portend great hardship and danger for Nigerians." It said, as businessmen and women, our members acquired bank loans to keep their fuel retail outlets running on a daily basis across the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. So, however, it is demoralizing to know that many of our members have gone bankrupt and have become financially insolvent as a result of their inability to meet their financial obligations to their banks, arising wholly from their inability to get their monies from the NMDPRA. And he also pointed out that, or an official of Ipman rather, pointed out that at a stakeholders meeting that was held in February 2024 with the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken, Lukubiri, and the National Security Advisor, Nuhuri Bad, I don't know why, but it's okay.
Everywhere.
The Chief Executive of NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, was mandated by Lukubiri to clear the entire debt in 40 days. And this meeting was had February 20th, 2024. Today is May 1st, 2024.
And no debt has been cleared.
The 40 days timeline has been elapsed.
Well, we also have to appeal. You get the situation in life. Just keep that January. Because again, yes. Because, okay, what can we do now? We can't even pay these guys. That's the people involved that have to pay. And if they are not paying, we'll have to beg them for what? To pay. Because if you have these Ipman guys decide to now shut down their filling station, whatever they are doing that for 5 billion, I think we have to, commend them. We have to appreciate them. But again, we have to beg them. Why we're also begging people involved to please pay these guys? You can't, and that's the problem with government. That's why you see people don't trust the government because they make promises without fulfilling their promise. Sandra, what is today's date? What is today's date now?
May 1st.
When is the Port Harcourt finance supposed to start working?
April.
So are we still in April?
Well, it's just 8 hours into May 1st, so anything can happen.
What is anything that can happen? The anything that can happen is that the environment will
Fuad, I think in this administration we are learning that we need to renew our hope every morning. So when we wake up in the morning, just okay, today is another day.
So what do we do with the barrage of promises? They keep coming with promises.
Well, the story is on page 31 of the Punch newspaper. Ipman threatening closure of 30,000 filling stations. Well, we also have here, federal government offers free ride as Port Harcourt Aba train services resumes. That's on page 32. Also, just by the masthead of the Punch newspaper, Dangote refinery gets valid operating license soon, says federal government. I don't know what to make of this, but I'm curious. What? The federal government announced that it was set to issue a fully valid operating license to
After 1 year of commissioning
to
the
Dangote Petroleum Refinery.
Yes, now, because the refinery was commissioned May last year, so we are like a year.
So NMDPRA, yes, NMDPRA said that what they issued was a
pre-commissioning license.
Yes, a pre-commissioning license.
And the real license is coming soon. You know, they will not, there's even no date.
You just say soon.
And that's why there are people who are still saying that they are not completely sure that that refinery is fully completed to make it fully functional. That there are still a lot of work that still needs to be. I'm just saying speculation, not confirmed.
Yeah.
That refinery still has some work on it for it to be fully functional. And that's why you see that there's been a bit of back and forth on when products be delivered. Oh, we're going to start with diesel, then there's A1, then PMS. So some of the promises of we're going to do this, do that, and all of that. And the fully valid operational license is not yet given. So you understand that, look, there's something fishy somewhere. But whatever that is, again, like I just said, I think we're in an era where government makes promises and we just look at it and say, look, don't hang on those promises. Just solve your problem. No, don't wait for those promises because they might really not amount to anything.
Well, what we have now is that 3 refineries were issued 3 valid licenses. What they awarded to Dangote, even in their pre-commissioning, and sooner or later they will have full commission and a valid license to also operate. This is interesting. All right. Well, stated that 15 gas facilities across the country have valid licenses, while more are undergoing processing. The NMDPRA boss said there are 1,199 facilities with valid licenses in the downstream, while more than 176 operators hold gas import permits. So many people, but very little supply. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
You know that many Nigerians are not interested in all these stories. They just want to go to the filling station and buy PMS, and that's what they are interested in. Okay, what do we do with all of these stories now? People have licenses, but they can't even operate them. You know the same operational license we are talking about, giving to people to bring in PMS, about 90 of them. None of them have been able to activate the license to even bring 1 liter of fuel into this country. It has only been the NMDPRA. So you understand that, look, it's a big deep into it. You understand what I say when we talk about the fact that, look, every time we talk about this thing, there's always that thing that is called corruption hanging somewhere in it.
The story is on page 31 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on very quickly now. Naira rebounds as dollar supply hits $7 billion in 2 months. That story is on page 31 as well of the Punch newspaper. So very quickly, dollar supply in the official foreign exchange market reached a substantial sum of $7.3 billion in the months of March and April. And this is as the Naira rebounded against the US dollar to 1,390 per dollar. The official market steadied at 1,340 at the parallel market, popularly called the black market. We don't have the figures for the remaining 2 markets, but that's what we have from this report now. And according to data sourced from FMDQ Security Exchange, forex sales data showed that there was improved liquidity in the market as $4.7 billion transaction was sold in March. This means the rate remained at the amount quoted on Monday. Well, the Naira remaining as it is now at 1,399. That doesn't look good, but
you know the funny thing about people on social media posting dollar rates against the Naira. There are people who don't even buy the dollar. They don't even do anything with the dollar. But you know, people begin to post some of things. You know, like by the source by Sağ. Even people who do dollar transactions on a daily basis understand that, look, we are far from the glory days. We are far from resolving any foreign crisis we are facing at this time. Because what we're doing basically is creating artificial liquidity. You know, basically the CBN just intervening. You know, but again, it's what it is. We're about to want, you know, it was about 1,450. I think it's about 1,300 and something. I think what Nigerians are expecting at least is for us to drop it below 1,000 naira and hopefully keep it there. But it's not going to happen by mere week. We have to work the talk and do the hard work. This artificial liquidity is not sustainable.
Well, at the official market known as the NAFEM, that's Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, the naira is at 1,390, from 149 recorded on Monday. So this back and forth will continue to monitor as time goes on. Stories on page 31 of the Punch newspaper. That's what we're taking from the Punch. It's 15 minutes past 8 when you're listening to Trends in the Papers on mainland 98.3 FM. Moving on now to the Guardian. The major headline: endless wait for living wage. Inflation, naira depreciation plunged Nigerian workers to lowest wage earners. So we have here in March 2019, when minimum wage was increased to 30%, inflation was 11.25 forward. But now minimum wage is 30,000 naira, but inflation in March 2024 is 33, and that's as of March, because I know it increased sometime in April to 37 or so. So that is what we're working with now. In 2020, a bag of rice was 26,000, but sometime in April, a bag of rice in April 2024, a bag of rice was going for about 85,000 naira. All right. So looking at this, you had you mentioned something about living wage. Yes, you already mentioned something earlier on as regards living wage against minimum wage. So what we have now as riders to this story is we were better off with 18,000 naira minimum wage. Workers mark May Day amid high food cost. Time to put people first. Workers tell Tinubu. So Nigerian workers, hovering at about 50 million, have remained among the lowest earners in the world, as the monthly wage floor in Africa's most populous country has fallen to $23 amidst the worsening cost of living crisis. So the continual depreciation of the naira has pushed Nigerians to the second lowest paid, just behind Bangladesh, where the minimum wage is $14 monthly.
I think Nigeria is about $25 now.
$23. Let's not go too far. Right. So as the naira keeps falling, and it's they are doing whatever it is that they are doing, that Fuad refused to know that I don't know, or refused to acknowledge that I don't know. I don't know, Fuad. I really do not know what they are doing to intervene as regards the naira. But what we have is the National Bureau of Statistics Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, shows that as of March 2019, inflation was 11.25. Hence, workers have insisted that the condition of living was better between 2011 and 2018, when minimum wage was 18,000 naira. That is what workers are saying now. What the fact that people are saying that pre 30,000 naira life was better.
You have to talk about the value of the naira, what the purchasing power of the currency. It's also very important in this minimum wage conversation, because it's not the amount of money you earn that matters really. What can it really buy? What's the value? What is the purchasing power? And unfortunately, we are in an era where all of these policies have eroded the purchasing power of the ordinary Nigerian. Whatever you earn cannot, the take home pay cannot even take you home. That's what we're saying. Look, if you don't know, a lot of workers go ask them. A few of them are my friends, actually living on debt. They keep borrowing. They will tell you, that's what they are doing. They just continue to stay afloat. Because whatever they are earning, okay, look, Sandra, I just told you now, these the calculations that are just been announced for military, paramilitary, and all of that is just 20 to 35%. What can that really do? For those that will get, because again, when you put 20% in the conversation, it means there are people that will get 20% increment. So if you are getting 30,000 naira, for example, and then you get 20% increase, that's like 6,000 naira added to what you have got. What can that really do? Look at the data that the Guardian is giving you, and what even the data will be working. So you see, that's why I said that. Look, we can continue to argue that it is that before done, right? And that the government has to take these tough decisions before. But the question is, this decision is only fighting hard and making people suffer.
Hello, Fuad. All right, we may have to reconnect with us. Okay, we lost you for a few seconds, so you may have to
out something larger than life. That's what they are doing.
All right. Thank you very much, Said Fuad. Just as putting in things into perspective, 4 kg of Gary, that was about less than 1,000 naira sometime in 2018, is now going for about 3,500. That's Gary that's supposed to be available to.
You know why I'm very poor? I'm very poor with the exact prices of some of these groceries and is that I just allow Madam to. I don't want to stress my head. I sometimes I just there's a way you deliberately avoid to go so that there's no justification for increase in demand. You understand? This cannot help. I say, don't even bring that figure to my. You deliberately don't even want to see the figure, so that Madam will not come with a reason to demand for more money. And that's why I don't really want to bother myself. But a lot of times I know that look, I told you I started with a few locals. And they told me that even in the villages now, when you try to process your cassava into gari, there's always a time when you grind the whole thing and you allow water to come out of it to drain before you now fry. There are people already feeling that one now, apart from supporting cassava from the farm. People are already stealing gari even before they fry it. That's to show you the level of poverty. And while all of that is going on, you want to run the economy on palliative. You want to run the economy on tokenism. What would that solve?
Well, looking at, for instance, looking against what was obtainable in 2018 to what we have now in 2024, a worker whose monthly income was 70,000 naira in 2015 could comfortably purchase some things and still have little savings. But reverse is the case as at now. And looking at addressing the purchasing power of and looking at addressing the low purchasing power and also high inflation figures is also something that we need to look at. And addressing weak purchasing power in Nigeria requires a comprehensive approach that focuses on increasing income levels and controlling inflation, stabilizing the exchange rate, promoting economic growth, creating job opportunities, enhancing financial inclusion. Policies that are aimed at boosting consumer purchasing power can help to stimulate domestic demand, support economic recovery, and improve the overall welfare of the population. And that is coming from Mohammed, a retired investment banker, and Mohammed. Also looking at what exactly are we to expect from the tripartite committee that is supposed to work on or negotiate on as regards minimum wage. As it is now, as of last week, when the Guardian was getting a report on that, the secretariat of the wage committee is still collating figures that were harvested during the zonal engagement. So for now, there's nothing to show that there's a new minimum wage that would actually come forth.
No recommendation yet.
Nothing. All right, but the stories on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper extensively, reported there. Yes. Moving on now, still on the front page of the Guardian, very quickly, we also have here reps summon petroleum minister and others over fuel scarcity and nationwide pains. That is on page 6 as well of the Guardian newspaper. We also have here reps NBA Falana Huriwa seek reversal of electricity tariff hike. What? I just want to ask you very, very honest, and without any
bad.
I just want to ask, Minister for Power. Yes, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu. I don't know, but what's your take on?
Lower your voice so that people will not hear what we are saying.
I'm trying to. That's what I'm doing. What's your take on his handling of this whole power crisis in recent times? Because his choice of words, his body language, just what do you think, Fuad?
No. You see, when you give the job of a bricklayer as a carpenter, what do you expect? Mr. Adebayo will probably be a lot better as probably Minister of Finance or probably working in the city, and we know his background. And when we argue about round pegs in round holes and square pegs in round holes, you have people come up with the argument that was the minister he just supervisory. That was a big deal. So he can't be supervisory. He also has to understand. That was why a minister under Buhari told us that look, when they took me to the Ministry of Education, it took me months and they don't even understand what I was doing there.
He had to bring professors together.
So most likely Mr. Adelabu just has some so-called experts and consultants working with him and giving him suggestions. You understand what I'm saying? You can't compare to a patronage, for example. Because the background is also very important, because as you are bringing it to you, you are able to dissect it and understand it completely. You understand what I'm saying? Just imagine the CEO of Agbio now, chosen as Minister for Housing. What are you going to tell him that will be strange to him? You don't understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
Because he's been building houses, he understands the real estate sector. So, but when you bring somebody who is so completely alien and you think he's not supervising, this is what you're going to get. And that's why the man was blaming us that we are running our freezer. You know, that's why electricity is a problem. And you look at the back and forth between him and even the senator. And the man is still saying that, look, we have to do this increment in salary because without that, the sector is going to collapse. So that's I'm not saying that, look, he doesn't have the capacity to function as a minister. He's well qualified, well read. But have we put him in the right place where he would have been able to function optimally based on his background and knowledge?
All right. Well, the story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. There are calls coming in as regards the reversal of the electricity tariff hike, saying now is not the time. You get more details there. We also have here Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Obi faults work on Lagos Calabar Highway amid protest, and that is on page 4. Very, very quickly, let's see what the concerns are. So what we have is former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has slammed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration for going on with the controversial Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project in defiance of public outcry. What? Do you think they should have gone ahead or wait until all issues that have been raised by, concerned parties or concerned Nigerians had been resolved?
Where is the public outcry, Sandra? I don't know where the public outcry is coming from. There's no public outcry now. Nigerians are docile. We just take it, we think it in. We suck it in. We've done our own part as the media to report and begin to raise questions and concerns about our project. Have you seen any Nigerians, for example, carry placards anywhere? Have you seen anybody raise questions, go on the street peacefully to demand transparency and accountability on that particular project? That's they said it down to consequences. I was listening to one of our colleagues this morning who said that, look, it's only in Nigerians that the government makes promises and fail on their promises and there are no consequences. They just move on. They keep promising us. You know how many years they've been promising us Port Harcourt to Ghana we work? Later they said mechanical was done. Now it's finished on April. And they keep going and going and going. Nobody questions anything. And there are people that will still go there justifying, all of these things we are talking about. So I don't see any outcry really. Look, there are questions around the way the project was awarded. We raise those questions. How did what was supposed to be a build, operate, and transfer project suddenly become a project that the minister gave 1 hour code that I can't even remember now, and money that's been released without any competitive bidding? Whereas you have even people justify that, you don't have to be competitive bidding because the Procurement Act talks about some of these kinds of award of contract. I would say that, look, those are indications of an emergency. You can't have such a project done when there's no competitive bidding as demanded by the procurement. Even the former governorship candidate of the ADC, don't have to raise those concerns. They do their part. The opposition has spoken, Atiku has spoken, Obi has spoken, but Nigerians, are they speaking? Are they questioning it? The media has done its own job, but the government knows that, look, Nigerians will not react, and so they keep doing whatever they want to. Remember when those things are made to the former governor of Rivers said that, look, Nigerians don't complain. They welcome their leaders. They encourage corruption. The only time Nigerians complain about corruption is when they are not beneficiaries of it. We encourage if you romance it, we encourage them, we roll out the drums for them. Look at Tʀᴇɪᴅs, for example. He was freed in Nigeria by all the Nigerian courts. He was jailed in the UK for stealing people's money in Nigeria. When he came back to Nigeria, we rolled out the drums for him. Jolly Nyame, Joshua Darini were jailed. They were pardoned by the government. When they got to their state, we rolled out the drums for them. Look at what is happening to Yahya Bello. You see how people defending him. So there's no outcry anywhere. I think the choice of words for Mr. Obi should have changed. There's no outcry. I'm sorry. Nobody complaining.
Hey. Well, we have run out of time, unfortunately, so I'm afraid that's all we can take. But on a lighter note, still on the front page of the Guardian, Uzodimma appoints himself as Commissioner for Lands. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. I get the details there. I don't know.
That's OPU.
What do you make of that? But very quickly, across the front page of Vanguard newspaper, Mayday, federal government approves pay rise for workers as labor leaders lament hardship. You can get the details on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper.
I didn't even know whether the big point has the story of the Nigerian passport, the rating of the Nigerian passport. I don't know whether it's on the cover page.
I think that's Guardian now.
The front, it should be on the front.
Not on the front page.
Hey, yeah, okay, so leave it. This is not on the front page.
It's not on the front page of, it's not
It's a very an interesting story.
Yes,
the rating of the Nigerian passport.
I saw it. Singapore is the highest.
Number 1 rated passport
Yes,
in the
number
world.
1 rated passport. And
Nigeria is almost like it's down the ladder.
Almost the worst.
Just about 10 among the 10 worst performing passports in the world. And unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. It is.
my darling country, Nigeria.
I don't know.
They are now rating us. You know the way they are rating our passports with passports like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Sandra, are you aware?
We have run out of time.
Just 1 minute, Sandra. Are you aware that there's a time in this country where you don't need a visa to travel to the UK? You visa on arrival. Our passport was that valuable. How did we get to this level?
Well, so many questions to ask as regards the way forward, or which way Nigeria, as the that song goes, Sonny Okosun's song goes, which way Nigeria. But it's unfortunate where we are, especially as Nigerians now in this particular renewed hope administration. But stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break. We'll be back by 8:40 for Mainland Focus, where you get to be a part of the show, share your thoughts and your contribution as regards the focus for the day. This is Mainland 90.
Build a hard water shield cement now confirm.
Hey, Oga, we don't ready to start the foundation.
Say everything don't set?
Yes, sir. What will remain now to buy granite, sand, iron rods, concrete blocks, cement, and
Engineer, wait. Which kind of cement on I want use? Tell me.
Not the normal cement, sir.
Sure, I want use normal cement for site where water law. Haba, you never hear about Lafarge water shield, the new waterproof cement when no the less